ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਇਸ ਖਾਸ ਪੇਸ਼ਕਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਜਸਲੀਨ ਕੌਰ। ਸਾਡੀ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਖਾਸ ਪੇਸ਼ਕਸ਼ ਆਧਾਰਿਤ ਹੈ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਲਈ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਫੈਸਲਿਆਂ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ। ਹਾਲ ਹੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਸਰਵੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਇਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਲੋਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਿਵੇਸ਼ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ ਫੈਸਲਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਟ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਵੱਲ ਮੁੜ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਤਹਿਤ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਟਰੀ ਅਥਾਰਟੀ ਆਫ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਮੁਹਿੰਮ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਖਪਤਕਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਯੋਗ ਸਰੋਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਲੈਣ ਲਈ ਹੀ ਉਤਸ਼ਾਹਿਤ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਦੀ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਟਰੀ ਅਥਾਰਟੀ ਖਪਤਕਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਤਸ਼ਾਹਿਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਯੋਗ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਪੇਸ਼ੇਵਰਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਲਈ ਜਾਵੇ। ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਟਰੀ ਅਥਾਰਟੀ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਸੰਖਿਆ ਸ਼ੱਕੀ ਸਰੋਤਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿਅਕਤੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆਧਾਰ ਉੱਤੇ ਨਿਵੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਫੈਸਲੇ ਲੈ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਯੋਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਨ। ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਦੀ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਟਰੀ ਅਥਾਰਟੀ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਗਏ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਜ਼ਾ ਪੋਲ ਦੇ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ 68% ਲੋਕੀ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਟ, वर्ड ऑफ माउथ ਜਾਂ सोशल मीडिया तो वित्तीय सलाह ਅਤੇ सुझाव प्राप्त करते हैं।
मैं अपनी फाइनेंशियल एडवाइसेस आजकल के टाइम में सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू गैदर करता हूँ क्योंकि वो एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म है जहाँ पे आपको सब चीज़ें मिल जाती है एक इजीली वे में। आप जब भी फ्री टाइम में बैठे हो आप स्क्रॉल कर सकते हो। काफ़ी सारे फाइनेंस एडवाइज़र्स रहते हैं वहाँ पे जो आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन देते हैं कि आपको किस चीज़ के लिए कैसा इन्वेस्ट करना है या किस चीज़ के लिए कितना इंटरेस्ट रेट है जो भी रिगार्डिंग थिंग्स। और इसके अलावा मैं प्रेफर करता हूँ कि कोई एडवाइज़र जो आजकल की काफ़ी सारी काउंसलिंग सोसाइटीज़ है जिनके थ्रू आप ये इन्फॉर्मेशन ले सकते हो। मेरे लिए तो फ़िलहाल इस टाइम पे ईजी एक्सेस सोशल मीडिया ही है।
ਵਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਹੋਰ ਸਰੋਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੇਸ਼ੇਵਰ ਸਲਾਹਕਾਰ, ਵਿੱਤੀ ਰਿਪੋਰਟਾਂ, ਵਿੱਤੀ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਸਾਧਨ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਸਵੈ ਨਿਰਦੇਸ਼ਿਤ ਨਿਵੇਸ਼, ਟੀਵੀ, ਰੇਡੀਓ ਅਤੇ ਅਖਬਾਰ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹਨ। ਜ਼ਿਕਰਯੋਗ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਲ 2022 ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਯੋਗਤਾ ਦੀ ਪਰਵਾਹ ਕੀਤੇ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਯੋਜਨਾਕਾਰ ਜਾਂ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸਲਾਹਕਾਰ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ। ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਨਵਾਂ ਸੂਬਾਈ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਮਾਰਚ 2022 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਾਗੂ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਜੋ ਅਯੋਗ ਵਿਅਕਤੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਯੋਜਨਾਕਾਰ ਅਤੇ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸਲਾਹਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਸਿਰਲੇਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਰੋਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਟਰੀ ਅਥਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਪੋਲ ਦੇ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ 99% ਲੋਕੀ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਨਾਲ ਸਹਿਮਤ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਯੋਜਨਾਕਾਰ ਅਤੇ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸਲਾਹਕਾਰ ਸਿਰਲੇਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਨਿਯੰਤਰਿਤ ਮਾਪਦੰਡਾਂ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ।
Compare the financial market today with what was there 10 years ago. Everything was based on newspapers and news channels, but today in social media's age everyone just goes to their Twitter or maybe Instagram to find out what's trending and they invest accordingly. I do the same too, but I do keep some fundamental ideas in my mind.
Financial advice ਲਈ ਮੈਂ personally ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਆਪਣੇ authentic sources ਤੋਂ ਦੇਖਾਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ CRA ਦੀ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਬਾਕੀ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟਸ। ਆਲਦੋ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪੋਪੂਲਰ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਨਫਲੂਐਂਸਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਬਟ ਅਗੇਨ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਤਰਕ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਇਸ ਕੇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਜੇਕਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੋਰਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਓਥੈਂਟਿਕ ਸੋਰਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਸਕੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਐਕਚੁਅਲ 'ਚ ਓਥੈਂਟਿਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ। ਮੇਰਾ ਪਰਸਨਲੀ ਓਪੀਨੀਅਨ ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਲਾਇਸੈਂਸਡ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਐਡਵਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਤੋਂ ਐਡਵਾਈਸ ਲੈ ਲੈਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕੁਛ ਵੱਡਾ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਡਿਸੀਜ਼ਨ ਲੈਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਘਰ ਲੈਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ।
You shouldn't just blindly believe whatever you see on those channels. You should always have in-depth knowledge about where you're investing your money. But in the end, I'll just say yes, it's easy access on social media to just read through and then analyze where you should invest your money at.
ਖਪਤਕਾਰਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਨਿਵੇਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਟਰੀ ਅਥਾਰਟੀ ਆਫ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਨਵੀਂ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਮੁਹਿੰਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਪੁਟਿੰਗ ਯੋਰ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਫਰਸਟ ਇਹ ਮੁਹਿੰਮ ਸਲਾਹ ਅਤੇ ਸਰੋਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਪੇਸ਼ਕਸ਼ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਪੇਸ਼ੇਵਰ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਣ ਲਈ ਪ੍ਰਮੁੱਖ ਸਵਾਲ ਦੱਸੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਪੇਸ਼ੇ ਲਈ ਯੋਗ ਹਨ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ। ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦਾ। ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਇਹ ਖਾਸ ਪੇਸ਼ਕਸ਼ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜਾਰੀ ਰਹੇਗੀ। ਜਲਦ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਲਈ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਲਾਈਨ ਤੇ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹਨ ਜੋਲ ਗੌਡਲੇ ਜੋ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਟਰੀ ਅਥਾਰਟੀ ਆਫ ontario ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਾਰਕੀਟਿੰਗ ਪਾਲਿਸੀ ਦੇ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਵਜੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। Hello Joel, thank you so much for joining PDC Punjabi once again. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure for us as well. Joel, as we know that recently Financial Services Regulatory Authority of Ontario has launched a new educational campaign, Putting Your Interest First. So can you first tell us about this campaign, what this campaign is about?
Well, basically, and thank you for the question, the Financial Services Regulatory Authority of Ontario recently launched a protection for the titles of financial advisor and financial planner. And what we want to make sure is that consumers, when they are going to be trusting somebody with their investments, that they really make sure they understand that that person is qualified to do what they are doing. Up until March of this year, there were no requirements at all. If somebody wanted to use the financial advisor or financial planner title, literally anybody could do that without any qualifications. So that changed in March. There are now requirements that they have certain amounts of education and qualifications. And we just want to make sure that consumers understand they should ask the right questions to make sure that the person they are working with to get that advice is qualified to do so.
What do you think, what difference this campaign will make? So what benefits consumers will have?
Well, I think, one thing that we've seen very clearly from the results of this, as you'll have seen, is that we've seen that about 70% of the people who responded to this survey said that they get their financial advice from the internet, from word of mouth, from social media. There's no way to know whether some of those sources at this point are some of them may be qualified, some of them maybe not. If you're getting it from a TikTok video, maybe that person does have qualifications, but maybe they don't. So I think the thing that we're seeing loud and clear is that the way that people get their information obviously has changed. People do a lot of their searching for these things online. But people also said in their response to this survey that they actually think it's really important. 81% of people said it's important that the person who gives them advice has education and training in financial services, has had years of experience, has some kind of a credential or designation that makes them qualified to do it. So I think why this is really helpful is it really shows the importance of people understanding who they're talking to and who they're getting their advice from.
So what kind of information is important for consumers to know before they do any investment?
Yeah, that's so important. So everybody needs to have a good understanding of their own situation and their own ability to tolerate risk. And they need to work with somebody who understands that. Everybody's situation is different. No two investors are the same. And that's why it's so important that you have to work with somebody who understands your personal situation, your financial situation, your family situation. And then there are questions that you need to ask to that person about why they are qualified to give you that advice. A consumer should ask, what credentials do you have? Where did it come from? Who gave you that credential? What was your education and your background? What experience do you have? And what services do you provide? And most importantly, how do I get a financial plan that's right for me and for my circumstances and for my family?
Joel, how can a customer confirm? I know you did mention of some of the things, but how can customer confirm that the financial advisor or financial planner they're talking to is qualified enough, or he can or she can answer their question and will provide them with the best advice?
So we have we've already approved 4 credentialing bodies under our framework, and it's each of those credentialing bodies online has a list of the people who are qualified to be financial advisors or financial planners. So it's a matter of doing a search. Eventually, FSRA will have a consolidated somewhere where someone can look that up all in one place, where all the title users are there. Right now, they're on each of the 4 credentialing bodies. People should really just search for that online. Make sure this person has qualifications. Try to see if there's any time that person has had action taken against them by a regulator, because that probably is a red flag. But most importantly, that they're qualified and that they've been through the right kind of education and qualifications to allow them to give you that advice.
Now, when thinking about making an investment, what are some of the critical questions that consumer can ask of financial advisors, financial professionals?
Yeah, and I got into a little of that before, but really the most important is, what services do you provide? what are your qualifications and how did you get them? What is your education and your background and your training? What is your expertise? Maybe there's somebody you'll talk to who is an expert in investing in a certain type of investment, but that's not the type you want to invest in. Maybe they specialize in high risk investments and you are a low risk person, then that's probably not the person that you want to work with. Most importantly, what credentials do you have that make you qualified to use the financial planner or financial advisor title? Where did you get it from? And really ask them, where can I look that up online to make sure that that's legitimate, that you've actually received that credential? All of those are really important questions, so you make sure the person you're talking to is qualified.
Now, given the impact of inflation and the current economic position, how much time an investor should spend on their financial planning before making any decision?
That's a great question, and I think the answer is different for every individual because everybody has a different tolerance, I would say, for the amount of risk they will take in their investments, as well as how much time they need to take researching it. Some people will spend less time because they have great comfort with it. Other people will need to take more. I would say the most important thing at the end of the day is to ensure that you have to your satisfaction researched the financial professional you'd like to talk to a few different people, find one that's right for you and for your family and that you have the right connection with and who really understands your needs. Because at the end of the day, what this framework that we have introduced is mostly about is about putting the customer's needs first, putting the consumer's needs first and the investor's needs, not putting the advisor's needs first. So if the consumer feels comfortable with a person and investing with them, odds are that person is looking out for their best interest.
Joel, we do see that FSRA is really requesting people to talk to the right professionals. But what is the value of working with an approved financial planner or financial advisor?
Yeah, and that's a big part of this is that before this came along, before the government introduced this legislation a few years ago and before it came into force this year, as I mentioned before, there was actually no qualification that someone needed to have to call themselves a financial advisor or financial planner. Now there are. Now they have to have met a certain level. They have to have a credential that's been offered by an approved credentialing body. And you can have confidence as a consumer that if you work with someone who calls themselves a financial planner or a financial advisor, you can now have the confidence that that person has the right amount of education and the qualifications to be able to give you good advice.
I know you did mention that consumer can ask the professionals about their credentials. So just want to confirm again that, is that right? Should investor always ask and validate about the credentials of the financial services professionals they're working with?
Yes, absolutely. Because I think there are operators, I would say this is not the majority, but there are certainly many out there that may call themselves a financial advisor and may have no qualifications at all to do that. You definitely want to always ask about those credentials and how it is they got them and who they got them from to make sure that they've got the actual expertise and qualifications to use that title.
You've mentioned about this before, that since March 2022, Ontario has a new legislation in effect under which the financial planner and financial advisor titles are different and they hold different responsibilities. So can you tell us what is the difference between these two titles?
Yes, absolutely. So really, and there were already established bodies out there that were giving out certified financial planner titles even before this came into effect. But basically what we've done now is we've put it into a framework where we've said a financial planner is someone who looks at your overall financial plan, as you would expect, and has some amount of experience and expertise in multiple different areas of investments. And not just one. A financial advisor, on the other hand, can be somebody who specializes in one particular type of investment. For instance, you will have heard of a mutual fund dealer as a very specific type of investment professional. That person could use the financial advisor title potentially, even if they're only focused on those types of investment products. Whereas a financial planner usually looks across at your entire financial plan and is working on his expertise in multiple different areas. That's basically the difference.
Joel, now what are some of the other resources available that customers can use to get the right advice?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of different sources out there that people get their information from. Obviously, there's online. They can talk to someone in their bank. They can they can contact the investment, different investment firms. They can look people up and contact them as well. I would say whoever you're getting your advice from, the most important thing is to make sure that that person is qualified to do that and to give you that advice. You want to work with somebody that you know and can have confidence is actually working in your best interest. And as I said, as of March of this year, if they're using the financial advisor or financial planner titles, you can have confidence that they're doing that.
All right, before I let you go, any message you have for the viewers?
I would just say the research we put out there, it shows that half of the respondents said they spent more time researching their last cell phone purchase than they do on their financial advisor. I would say, not that you shouldn't research your cell phone purchase. It's an important thing you use every day. But I would say it's also extremely important to know who you're trusting with maybe your life savings or large amounts of money, the largest investments you're ever going to make. So I would say if there's one message to take away from this research we did, it's that people really need to spend as much time as they feel they need to be comfortable that the person they're getting advice from is qualified.
All right, Joe, it was really nice talking to you. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing your information with us and with our viewers. Have a nice day.
Thank you for having me.
ਆਪਣੀ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਬਚਤ ਦਾ ਨਿਵੇਸ਼ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਠੋਸ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹਰ ਸੰਭਵ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈਡ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਐਜੂਕੇਟਰ ਦੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਬੇहद ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਐਸੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਖਾਸ ਪੇਸ਼ਕਸ਼। ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੋਈ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੋਈ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਭੇਜੋ feedback@ptcnetwork.com ਤੇ। ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ ਅਗਲੇ ਹਫਤੇ। ਉਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਲਈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦਿਓ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਤੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੀਆਂ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੜੇ ਰਹੋ PTC ਨਿਊਜ਼ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ।